We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right, Manny.
Can you hear me now? Are we good?
I hear you now. Now we got the Verizon commercial going on. I can hear you now. Mario is loading up. Talk to me about it, because there's a ton of people he's picked up.
Yeah, they've done a really good job, man, getting commitments early in the process. I think they're up to 19 commitments now, number 7 or number 6 class in the latest rankings. They've done their job to this point. The next couple of weeks, we'll find out if they can add to it. July is a very important period. A lot of the big names come off the board in July. But again, it's like anything else. You have to have a good season come the fall. Otherwise, when it comes to actually signing these letters of intent and signing with the school, you have to actually do well and finish, strong on the field. So I think we'll find out what they do over the next couple of weeks and who they add. But again, I think it all comes down to how they play on the field in the fall.
All right, who's next, bro? Like, obviously 19. They can still go get some more.
Yeah.
By the way, do you happen to even know how much money is in that damn collective? That's not something that's shared, huh?
That's not something they talk about, but I'm pretty convinced that it's somewhere in the ballpark of over $20 million per year that they're spending on their entire roster. And obviously now you have the rev share, which right around 20.5 for all the sports. Miami's collective is separate of that. So I think up until this point, it's been around close to 20 million that they've been spending. I think it's probably going to be maybe closer to 30 or 35 when you add in what the collective adds. So,
all right.
Yeah,
so
it's a lot of money.
Who's the next big cheese they're going after to get a slice of that pie?
Well, the last commitment they got was Anthony Kennedy Jr. He's a 3-star defensive lineman. They got him last Friday after our show. I talked to you from Bradenton IMG Academy. He ended up committing as expected. The two guys that are going to announce this weekend that they're in the running for are both 4-star top 100 recruits. Bryce Perry-Wright from Buford, Georgia, defensive lineman. Thought is Clemson is the leader for Bryce. He's been a guy that a lot of those Georgia guys end up going to Clemson, but Miami and Texas A&M are both in on him. He's going to announce on Saturday, I think around 5 p.m. Corey Heatherman, the Miami's defensive coordinator, has tried his best to get this kid in the class. Again, we will see what happens on Saturday. The big one for me is Calvin Russell. He is the elite top 100 wide receiver from Miami Northwestern. He's announcing Saturday at noon. Calvin is a guy who his mom played for the University of Miami basketball team, but he's telling people to this point that it's Michigan, LSU, or Syracuse are his top 3 schools. They don't even have Miami in his top 3. It could be the old could be the old okey doke, right? Or it could be that he really wants to leave. We don't know for sure, but we'll find out on Saturday when he makes his announcement. So
and he said guys, Michigan, Syracuse, and what else?
LSU. Those are the 3 schools that are in the running for him.
Two really cold-ass places.
Well, part of this is because he plays basketball too, and they're offering him basketball as well. So Miami has done that. They're trying to, convince him to play basketball here, but I think ultimately that's the deal, man. That's the situation.
Is the Duke? I'll follow up on the recruiting in a second, but is the Duke coach, the ex-Duke coach, how's he doing with the basketball program? Because obviously he's got to be a part of this thing now.
Yeah, Jai Lucas, I think, has done a really good job. Look, he's a guy he's a relationship guy. He's very much like Mario in that regard, where he's very well liked. I think Miami's basketball program has done really well, picking up established players from other Power 4 programs, guys that were starters, guys that were looking for fresh starts. So and he's got I think already 1 5-star recruit or high 4-star recruit in the next recruiting cycle, a local player. So they've done a great job in terms of just getting off to a good start here. But again, it's like I try to tell everyone. Everybody wants to see what the team actually looks like before they really, really, really buy in. So we'll see what happens with the basketball team and what they end up looking like in the fall. But I think he's done a great job rebuilding this roster. Remember, everybody and their mother got in the transfer portal basically after Larranaga left. So a lot of work to be done, and I think he's done a good job to this point with the recruiting class, getting good players to jump in.
All right. Who else is Mario going after?
Yeah, I think, look, I spent a lot of time this past weekend. I went to the OT7 in Fort Lauderdale, and I spent time with my friends from the South Florida Express who did not win. But Tristan Keys is a 5-star wide receiver who's been committed to LSU for a long time, and everybody thinks that Miami is going to flip him. I honestly, from my conversations with him and his family, I just don't see it. This is a kid that grew up in Mississippi. LSU has done a really good job, I think, recruiting him. Yes, he's flirted with a bunch of other schools. Yes, Miami is an Adidas school. He is an Adidas employee. Right now, he signed an NIL deal with Adidas, even though he can't collect the money. It's according to the rules in Mississippi. But I think he's going to stick with LSU. At least that's my impression of things. And then the other guys to watch for, obviously, in the weeks and months ahead, Derek Cooper, the running back from Hollywood Chaminade, another elite, top guy from South Florida that Miami wants, just like Calvin Russell. And Derek has gotten everybody after him in the country. We'll see if Miami can pull that one out. Again, I told you, Mario's doing great on the recruiting trail. We need to see him win on the field, but I think ultimately you'll know that Miami is really back. In my mind, not only are they winning, but the best players in the city are deciding to stay here. And I don't think that's happened a lot to this point.
No, but I think with the production this year, if you win, if you finally get to that bowl game and you win, I think you start to make that turn. So that's why I'm excited, man. He's building it up with the meat in the middle. He's trying to win at the line of scrimmages, and that will make the life for your quarterback so much easier when you can do stuff like that. So I'm excited. All right, what do you got going on there in the athletics so folks can check you out?
Well, I just caught up with Jeremiah Smith, the star wide receiver from Ohio State here from South Florida. Wrote a big feature on him, met up with him at the OT7, and I just wrote a column on LSU. They won the transfer portal in terms of signing the most Power 4 starters from other programs. They signed 11, beat out Miami for an all Big 12 safety that the Hurricanes badly wanted. But in the end, though, what does all this stuff mean? I did a lot of research, spent a lot of time looking this up. You go back and you look at Michigan and Ohio State, the last two teams to win national titles. They didn't win it with a bunch of transfers. Yes, they had some transfers, right? They had some guys, but it was mostly a roster of homegrown products. And so it's more of a big picture look of what the transfer portal actually means in terms of the last couple of teams that we've seen win championships and get to the Final Four and get to the final. Those are teams that are primarily built with their own guys with a sprinkling of transfers versus what Florida State does, which is bring in a whole bunch of transfers and try to win that way.
Continuity will help any business, any team have success. If you have major turnover, then you're asking your CEO, your manager, your head coach to make constant adjustments because people are different. You got to have some continuity. So there's no doubt the homegrown aspect will help you build, that kind of winning. I'm with you there. All right, follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and make sure you subscribe to The Athletic and visit our friends at BigCheeseMiami.com. Gary and all the great people out there do excellent work. This was Billy's idea and Gary 40 years ago, and it continues. And like I tell you, the walls at the Big Cheese are loaded with Hurricane memories, pictures, autographs, all kinds of stuff. It is worth the trip just to walk around and see the walls. Manny, have a great 4th of July, my friend. We'll catch up next week. Thank you.
Talk soon. Take care.
You got it. BigCheeseMiami.com.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!
show.